So it's quarter to 8 a.m. On Friday, the time of recording this video. A general election's going on here in the UK. Looks like Labour is winning. And I've spent the last 4 or 5 hours trying to unlock a new character in the First Descendant. And in order to unlock this character, you need to gain 4 items. Each item has a 20% chance of dropping in these dungeons. First one took me an hour. The second one still hasn't dropped. And this dungeon's particularly annoying because the boss spawns in, and then when you do enough damage, it creates a shield and you have to destroy these balls, which is very common in this game. But this boss's gimmick is you have to destroy the balls in order that they appear, otherwise more balls spawn in. Which is fine when you enter an instance with other people who know what the dungeon's like, so you can just blaze through it. It's not so nice when you end up with a group of people who are doing the dungeon for the first time and they're just shooting all the balls. God help me. Alright, so this is going to seem a bit rambly at first, but I'm basically recording my thoughts and feelings straight after playing this game for around 30 hours, according to Steam. There is some network issues, let's say. On the second day, it felt like the game was out for most of it. Every time I tried to play, there was like a server issue. Play for a bit, couple of hours, and there was a server issue, and then we play again, and then there was another server issue. So that's great. A couple of times I've been doing missions and the mission has just completely failed. Either an enemy hasn't loaded or an object I've interacted with just doesn't engage with a trigger, and so that doesn't happen. And a few times I've had the game crash, and some missions, yeah, they just nothing. I don't know. It's just again, enemies don't spawn. But overall, my thoughts and feelings that this game is good. I've enjoyed the time playing it, but it plays it way too safe. That is to say, this game is very forgettable. It feels like any other looter shooter out there. In fact, during the beta, I also played Sync and the First Descendant around a similar time during their betas, and I would often get the two of them confused. I almost completely forgot about the First Descendant after the Sync fully released, and I played that for about a week and then stopped playing. The plot of this game is just the world's fraction. The world is dystopian, but not really, because like the main city looks quite nice, but then all the other areas look quite damaged. But it's aliens invaded, and there's these 3 Ironhearts that control a dimensional barrier, and if the dimensional barrier comes down, the void will just start attacking, and the aliens are all for this, I guess. And you're a descendant, which means you get superpowers, and you can talk to this guide, but only current descendants can talk to them, and only certain descendants, because if they have an ironwork, then it blocks them. And basically, you want the MacGuffins so you can create the barrier to stop the void coming in and stop the alien army. It's just not that intriguing. It's so generic that I just started blanking it out. Visually, graphically, it looks good, but the style definitely feels sci-fi, video gamey. It's hard, but the visual language feels very similar to something like Synced. Some of the ship feel like they come out of Alien or Warhammer 40k. It's just, it doesn't have its own unique identity that I can go, oh, this is the First Descendant. I mean, everything looks good, but some of the architects, I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw this in, oh my god, Scars Above. It looked like some of the architecture and the building designs looks like from Scars Above. Some of it looks like from Warframe. Like I said, Synced. Probably Destiny. I barely played Destiny 2. I think I played for an hour and made a funny short where I die immediately and uninstall the game as a joke, and Destiny 2 community didn't take kindly to that. But yeah, it just doesn't stand out. Combat is fine. You know, it's a third-person shooter. You have a melee attack that is very dependent on what skill module you add to it. So for most of the game, I had a punch that just knocked them down. But recently, I've been trying out claws, so they do a claw attack. You have Descendants, and they all have like their own different skills. So I've mainly been using Bunny, which is run around, gain up a charge, and then you can discharge, which does electrical damage. I've also been playing this other one whose name has escaped me. I think it's like Freya. Poison one. Been doing poison. I've been playing them recently. Poison, doing poison damage. Max level is 40. You have a grapple hook. That's the main gimmick of this one to make it stand out from the rest. Is a grapple hook. Grapple hook's fine. You have 2 charges on the grapple hook. Possibly more for a module. I don't know. But you grapple hook around. Get high places. You can grapple on bosses sometimes. Mainly raid bosses. It's crossplay. Seamless crossplay. I've seen so many Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam players on this just throughout my journey. You can start a mission, but if someone's already started a mission, you just join their mission. So you can sometimes just join missions and the mission ended and you get the rewards. So that's cool. There's like mini dungeons or instances where you fight maybe 1 to 3 bosses. There's like regular enemies, and then there's specialist enemies or elite enemies that have the same name, but it's in red, and they usually have like a stat bonus. Like most of the time it's just HP up, or they get a shield. Not like there are shielded enemies that you can't damage while they have this shield up. I'm talking about they just gain a buff shield. Some of them are immune and you have to damage a certain point. And then you have like a tier above that. Like they have a yellow health bar and a shield icon as well. And they generally take more damage. And then you have an actual boss that has phases. So they usually have like the shield bar, the health bar, and then either 2 to 3 extra bars, which is basically you got to destroy their health and then that new bar comes up. And they have an immune phase where you have to do something to make them weak again, which so far has just been shoot balls. So they spawn balls, you shoot the balls. Once all the balls are gone, they're weak again. And you just shoot them, rinse and repeat. So some dungeons have a yellow enemy and then a boss. Some dungeons have 2 yellow enemies, a boss. Some dungeons have a yellow enemy and 2 bosses, and the bosses get progressively more difficult. Then you have raid bosses, which is a giant enemy that's massive, that does a ton of damage, and it has like 3 weak points. So far, all the raid bosses, big bosses, void bosses, I think they're called, have 3 weak points. Technically like 5 weak points, because a lot of the time it's the shoulder pads and the calf section, you know, the back of the leg, the calf. You shoot that and it breaks, and then you do more damage to those areas. They're pretty cool. They're fun most of the time. I'm stuck on one currently that I actually know. Does it do the health? But I was stuck on one that did a health bonus. I'm pretty sure I'm stuck on it. No, I think I'm on a fire one that just keeps doing damage. And resistances are all over the place in this game. You need to make sure you've upped your resistances, because after a while you'll get elemental damage. Also, some enemies have laser beams, and they're the most annoying thing in the world, because the laser beam just literally locks onto you. Like, it feels like the enemy is playing Moira from Overwatch, where they just latch onto a beam, and the only way to stop the beam hurting you is not to dodge roll, which you think you would do, because they just latch onto you. You get like a second of invulnerability, and then it latches back onto you as you have to stand behind something. And a lot of these enemies love doing it, and a lot of the bosses start doing it. Yeah, so gameplay is fine. Like, the grapple hook's cool. I wish there was like a grenade, maybe. Like, the melee doesn't feel that fun because it has a charge down time, and like the gunplay is cool, the abilities are cool, but it's like Warframe has better melee. And I feel like Synced maybe had better, well, had a grenade, which made the gunplay feel better. This is sort of an in-between, and the grapple hook doesn't feel like it gets involved a lot in combat. It's mainly just for movement and positioning, so a lot of the enemies may be higher up now and shooting down at you, and you just have to go to them. It's fine. It's like, don't get me wrong, this game is fun, but what I'm trying to come across is it's fine. That's it. If you're thinking this is going to be your main game, it may be. But I don't think it's a game that is going to last that long, because it's just plays it safe. Like, there's no wow factor. The boss designs feel like some of them just came out of in Doom. I literally fought one that just kept healing itself that looked like a boss from Doom. Had like the goat head and had a massive laser tank like the BFG, and it was just shooting everyone. So the designs are fine, but nothing about it makes me think this is the First Descendant. Like other IPs you can look at and be like, oh yeah, that's totally that IP. I guessing having a futuristic sci-fi is a lot harder to do because there's just so many, and like I said, they kind of feel like they're taking designs from other franchises and putting it into this because they're so iconic and so alien that they think, let's get those alien instructions from those films, but then they all another medium, but they all start blending in because it feels like the some of this feels like I've been playing the Scars Above or Synced again. It goes for like a realistic anime look, but it doesn't look horrendous. It looks good, but you could take those characters and locations and swap them around from other games, so it doesn't look unique. It's just like, oh, I'm playing Synced, no. Destiny, no. Warframe, no, definitely not Warframe. Ah, yes, the First Descendant. Which leads me to the conclusion that while this game is fine, it plays it safe, yeah, it can be very grindy to get the stuff that you want, or you could just pay for it, you know. Very grindy. Like I said, I spent 4 hours, 5 hours just trying to unlock a new character. By the way, the first character you unlock, Bunny, takes about 10 minutes, and then to unlock them takes about 10 minutes because you have to build them, and that takes about 10 minutes or a minute. I think it's a minute, but then you get the first gun and it takes 10 minutes. And then you actually get guns and stuff, and then you realize 4 hours. So the first character I got outside of the character you get to start with, and then the tutorial character that you have to build, took about 16 hours. Obviously you can speed up the process, or you could just, you know, buy the character. Yeah, the game is very grindy. Obviously, you have a level system for each Descendant, max 40. Then you have a mastery system that also just gets you stat bonuses that applies to all Descendants. There's also item levels, so your guns have their own level, and then you can also transfer a level from one gun to another, and then you can upgrade the guns. Modules have their own levels, but the more you level up, the more they cost. Modules are basically like incremental stat bonuses or effects that you can add to your Descendant or your weapon. Basically, have you played Warframe? Congratulations, you now understand the First Descendant's leveling up system. You also have these items that give you stat bonuses and stuff, and also add multipliers to your skills for each class. That's all cool. Yeah, there's like there's a lot of defense missions in this. You after a while you start noticing all the same missions, and then some missions will have multiple different mini missions in them. So when you start off the game, it'd be like, kill these enemies. That'll be it. Then later on, it'd be, kill these enemies. Now destroy this thing. Now kill these enemies. Now destroy this thing. Now kill these enemies. Now destroy this thing. Feels like a mini dungeon inside of the... I don't even want to say open world, but the level. So the game has like different zones, and in those zones is a zone. So you have like your main area, and then all the zones are connected through a loading screen. So you have like a very mini open world area, and there really isn't much to do in each of these. There's generally like there's maybe a side mission that you could do. Side mission. But a lot of the time it's either this area has this void thing, or this area has this void wave defense thing, or this area has this crypt thing you can unlock. There are side quests. A lot of the side quests so far I've done is basically just for tutorial stuff. And it'll be usually like, hey, go make this thing. Hey, go make this thing. And now I'm at to one where it's like, go make this weapon. And in order to do this weapon, I have to start fighting the same void boss over and over again just to have a 16% chance of getting this item. But I need to get another item to be able to get this item. And this item can only be used once. And it may not turn into the item I want. It could be turned into a different item, which has happened because I've gotten the same barrel for this gun twice now, and all I want is a handle for another gun. If that makes sense. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Jesus, I've been rambling for like 17 minutes about this. I don't know where to go with this. Like, I mean, it's free to play. I know maybe some people feel like that it's very aggressive with microtransactions, I guess. Or it's like pay to win. It's a PvE game. I haven't seen any PvP yet in 30 hours. Obviously, you can just straight up buy new characters and buy the stuff you need to make your characters more powerful. But because there's like weapon level and item levels and they drop quite frequently, don't really feel the need to buy a load of stuff to power up my character, but I can totally see I'm on the verge of it right now, because I'm stuck on a void boss. A lot of the time when you're stuck on a void boss, is just pray to God that you get a good group of people who kind of know what they're doing, because sometimes it feels like you get a person or a group of people in who have no idea what they're doing, despite it being pretty late into the game. I get that some bosses work differently than others, because going back to the ball analogy, when you break down a health bar for a boss, balls spawn. Most of the time, you just need to destroy a ball at a time, and it doesn't matter. Then you need to destroy them all relatively quickly. And like I said, eventually you get to a boss where you need to destroy it in the order that they appear. So it doesn't tell you. You kind of have to figure it out on your own, or pray to God that someone like me is typing in the chat, for the love of God, shoot the balls in the order that they appear. I don't think people read chat, to be fair, because hardly anybody uses it. Again, it's crossplay, so it's a lot harder to type out shoot the balls in the right order on an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, whatever you prefer. I mean, the game's fine. The game's fine. The only criticism I have is it's just fine. You need to do more to stand out. Just go mental. I don't know. The grapple hook isn't enough. It's fun. This game is fun. You will have fun, and then you will forget about it in 6 months' time. I think it's been 6 months since I played Synced. I think it has. It's probably been longer. Hang on, can I check? Can I this is such an improper review. Normally I structure them, but brain is just like, no. October 11th, 2023. December, January, March, April, May, June. We're in July now, aren't we? July. So 7 months. 7 months since I played Synced. And I played that game for 8.6 hours. So I've already played the First Descendant for a lot more. That's crazy. Mainly because Synced had an earlier roadblock. Like, the game got very grindy, very... it was like after 6 hours or 7 hours. Yeah, 6 hours it was fine. And then the last 2 hours it just slowed down massively. So the fact that the First Descendant went on for a lot longer, I would say probably like 15 hours, maybe 16 hours. It slowed down. I don't feel like I'm progressing as quickly, but mainly because I've spent a bit of extra time just trying to grind out materials to unlock new characters, and mainly help out my friend Jer get materials. It turns out when there's a 20% chance of an item dropping, it doesn't mean you're going to get it in 5 runs. It's 20% each time you do a dungeon or a run. Holy shit. It takes so... It doesn't even feel... there's got to be something... It feels like it's so much lower. So the conclusion is... First Descendant is a good game. You will have fun, but you probably won't be playing it that much, maybe. I mean, you at least you can play it with your friends from other consoles and stuff, so that, you know, that's cool, but it's just it plays it safe. It's generic. It's generic. There's nothing to write home about, really. It's not like you were like, guys, you've got to play this game. Why? Grapple hook. Abilities are cool, but it's got a grapple hook. Can carry up to 3 weapons. Swish them around. That's cool. Got missile launchers. Got a laser beam. Laser beam isn't that great because you kind of have to not move too much, and then kind of an easy target for the enemies to laser beam. That is also an issue. Sometimes you can just get overwhelmed by enemies and they just absolutely wreck you. Like, I feel like I have no shields. This game, inside of an instance, is properly balanced to like 1 or 2 people. Enemies will scale, so as soon as 2 people leave, immediately the boss becomes a lot easier to kill and stuff. But outside of that, it doesn't matter if you're just 1 or 4 people. The game just assumes that you have multiple people. Because some of them are like insane, like you just get bombarded. And like 2 people, oh, this is the easiest stuff in the world. Then you're by yourself and you're like, oh my god, why do I keep dying? It's because the game, I don't think there is a balancing system when someone enjoys your mission. It just assumes and sets the difficulty probably to 2 players. So you have 1 person less, you're screwed. If you have 2 people more, you're fine. It's going to be super easy. So maybe some scaling with those missions for people. I don't know. Either make them super easy so 1 person can do them pretty easy. You could pretty much do them pretty easy by yourself once you start getting equipment of that level. So, you know, swap around your guns a lot. Yeah, 24 minutes for this review and I've just been rambling. Whew. I'm going to end it now. I'm going to end it now. 30 hours. Chances are I'm streaming this game today, Saturday, with Mew. So you can go check that out. I might be here on the YouTubes. I probably will be on the Twitch. So go check that out, playing this game. He's probably going to want to get a load of characters. I know Jer is going to get so many characters. It's just going to be one of the games that as long as you've got other people to play with and they want to play it, you probably will play it and you won't have a bad time. Your time won't be bad, but it's other people want to play it and you have other people to play with, that's why you're going to play it. And if once everybody stops playing it to play something else, you're going to stop playing it. I don't know. I'm assuming a lot about you, but that's it for my case. I put in the 30 hours to make sure I wasn't missing anything, and I probably am, but I think playing a game for 30 hours just to say it's okay, it's good, but it's like whatever. I think that's a fair, like, I've given this game a fair shot. Okay? I was kind of excited for it. I'm not really disappointed, but I'm not overly impressed. I think it's a very safe game. If it was the only looter shooter out there, I think it would do well, but unfortunately, it's not. Yes, if you're playing Destiny 2 and for some reason you still like that game, I don't think this is going to convince you not to play it. So go play Warframe instead. I don't know. It's your life. Goodbye.
Morse. Marvelous. Together on the track. Let's go. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus.